Now I think we're going live.
We're live. I just see the notification.
Oh,
We are
really?
live.
Okay. Did I do that? I did that again, maybe from last time too, because I think I hit live twice. But either way, okay. Webinar streaming live to Facebook. Let me just make sure I record. I forgot to hit the record button last time, so let me just hit record. Okay, great. We're live. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you can hear us, please just hit hello in the comments if you're joining us live or on Facebook Live or on Zoom. I am Dr. Erica Vonderleed, and I help women shed unwanted weight. I help increase energy and mental clarity, balance hormones, and manage stress. And I'm so happy to be here with Maria Salvatore. And I'm so happy about our discussion today, really helping to make 2020, finish off 2020 with breakthroughs instead of breakdowns. So I'm going to go ahead and let Maria tell us a little bit about herself and how she is helping this world. So thanks, Maria, for being here with me today.
Thank you, Erica. Hi, everyone. I can't see who's on, but I see Kathleen's on. Hi, Kathleen.
Yes. Hi, Kathleen.
I'm so glad you're here, Kathleen. Yeah, my name is Maria Salvatore. I am a yoga and meditation teacher. I'm also a advanced Reiki practitioner, as well as I also hold additional certifications for yoga for trauma, yoga for addictions, and stress and anxiety. And I basically teach yoga and offer people tools to self-regulate, to meditate, to move their bodies, and basically just step into a more higher state of living instead of this, I think right now it's just a very scary, fearful world. And I think that both our work is so necessary. So just trying to make the world a better place.
Yes. I know we need more of that, right? In our lives right now. And we were discussing kind of like where you are teaching classes virtually. You are in a couple different studios, partnering with a few different people doing what kind of work?
Yeah, so I have been collaborating. I mean, when COVID hit back in March, I was actually really busy, a lot of different studios, and practically what felt like overnight, it was shut down, right? And so a lot of the studios I was at a lot of yoga studios teaching yoga, teaching meditation, and overnight it just shut down, and we pretty immediately, I think a lot of people paused, but I feel like the next day, 2 days, I kind of went virtual, like, hey, I know this is scary. I'm feeling it too. And, we can utilize Zoom to maintain, right? I think it was just so critical at that point to just give people ways, I even now, scroll through Facebook, and the narrative is just frightening. I mean, the stuff I'm seeing is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I feel very privileged. I'm in, up in New Jersey and not seeing a lot of stuff real time, but there's just so much pain. There's so much suffering. There's so much angst. And I know when I watch that, my whole body can tighten up and go into this like very contracted state.
Right.
And the stress hormones start flooding through my body. And for me, certainly for somebody who's recovering from substance abuse, that's a dangerous place. That's just not a road I want to go down, and the tools I used for many years were not sustainable, very helpful for the moment, but not sustainable, and added more to my anxiety, more to my depression, more to my, my mental illnesses, which I think a lot of people have and don't even realize how mentally ill they are. And, I found yoga found me, and it really was a way, movement, breathing, meditation, and it just opened up a whole new world of a safe space in the moment. So
great. So I know that, your story is like a lot of other people's stories, right? Everyone has their own story. and you had to find ways to kind of be resilient, right? To adapt to this changing environment. So I know that a lot of people are, like you had said, feeling really broken or feeling really stressed out. Maybe I had posted actually the other day, like, why do you want 2020 to be over with and why? So, a lot of people are right in the middle of riots, fires, maybe losing loved ones, or, a lot of people are still isolated and can't see people. So what are kind of like some good advice that you've been giving your clients and that you've been sharing with your tribe that you can share with us today?
And not even what I'm sharing, what I'm practicing myself.
Right.
Right. So I try to walk the walk and walk the talk as well. Although I think not to spiritually bypass, right, the suffering that's going in the world and just say, oh, there's all meaning to all this. I think it's important to address, that's sometimes, for me personally, the spiritual path is raw and messy. And, sometimes I think a lot of the times it's necessary for evolution and growth. And
that's that's the laws of nature, right?
right. Right. And the more we resist that, I think the deeper the suffering is. So I want to stay on focus because I'm very ADD and I can go in a million different directions. I'll lean on you to help me with that.
Right this second.
I can ramble and bore people. No, but so for me, practicing presence and just being a one with my feelings and my pain and my angst, because this year I think specifically, fear of, every fear I think people are experiencing, every fear and every, health, wellness, financial insecurity, safety. They're being hit and simultaneously.
Right.
And that's a lot.
Right.
So by using meditation, by using movement, by use some of the tools I use are pranayama, breathing tools. Just getting people to ground, to center, to self-regulate, to just get in right here, right now. Because a lot of times we're in time warp, we're in the what if,
right.
And sometimes the
You're
suffering
behind us or in front. Right.
Right. And there is I'm hearing a lot of narrative of the wait game, like when we're back to normal.
Right.
Or when the election, and
why wait till then?
And the reality is, I think, this is it, right? Right here, right now.
Yeah.
Adaptability, resilience, because a lot of times through the asana, through the yoga poses, it can just really connect us with our own internal strength. And the breath work, there are some, the breathing work, the pranayama, that neurologically, that is scientifically proven.
Can I just Yes.
Yeah,
right
jump
there.
in.
I do alternate nostril breathing. So you can say, yeah. And I use a heart map device to see, okay, is that technique working? Is that technique working? So it checks your coherence and your heart rate variability. And I go into a complete state of coherence and I can actually see that I'll do like breath of fire. And, that's not a real calming type of breath. And then I'll do alternate nostril and oh my gosh, everything's just, right? Because the cortisol, it helps with the cortisol, right? And the stress response. And no joke, like these things, like you said, scientifically proven, and certain devices can actually show you. I'm not saying you have to go out and get a device, but that which can be measured can be improved also. And that's just a fact, Jack, right? So I'm sorry for interrupting you, but yeah, scientifically proven, these certain breathing techniques can really make a difference.
No, absolutely. And I really appreciate the validation, because just try it. If you just alternate slow, or even just slow, deep breaths.
Right.
Because what happens is when you start to focus on your breath, you're in the moment. And then if the mind starts to go into these other states, because the mind is so powerful. And so these tools, or these ancient modalities, are just tools to get to master your mind. I spent the first 35 years of my life truly suffering and struggling.
Right.
And I found yoga when I was 20. But I was still partying and drinking and drugging and I almost feel like I always knew, but I avoided it. I hid it.
Like, why was the
I block,
resistance
you block
there?
yourself, and
Yeah.
fear is fear is big. And there's, one of my support groups, we talk about 100 forms of fear and how that shows up. And when I read the narrative of what's going on in the world, I mean, it's just so obvious fear.
Yeah.
And some of it's real fear. It's
Right.
it's valid.
But a lot of times you can't do anything about certain fears. Like, I shouldn't say that. You can't get rid of a lot of stresses in your life, right? You have to better manage them. So a lot of times fear is manifested in the mind, or like we can talk about limiting beliefs. But like you said, coming back to the present, right? Not worrying about, I'm sorry, the train's going by, not worrying about the past, not worrying about what's going to happen in the future, but what you can work on and focus your mind on, like, right in the here and now, right? And that's where a lot of your techniques come into play.
Yeah. And we choose our thoughts. We choose how to look at things. And sometimes, and a lot of times it's who you surround yourself with.
Yes. Right.
Like I'm like, I met you now, like-minded people who are really trying to live in just a higher state.
Right. People that really lift you up and are more in line with how you want to, like, live your life. I was going to say how you want to, but how you want to live your life in the present. But what do you say about a lot of people who feel isolated because they can't see the people that they love and lift them up?
The people that feel isolated,
Yeah.
I know, that are alone.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that right now, especially when COVID. The computer is a magnificent tool.
It can be, right? Unless it's programming you in a negative way. But yeah, if you can use it, like like our Zoom calls right now, right? We're hopefully sending a wonderful message out to people, and people overnight with their grandparents or whatever learned how to help them use Zoom to connect.
The other thing I want to say, Erica, is I'm just thinking, is the one thing that yoga has brought me, the one thing is the four corners of my mat has taught me to be my own best friend.
Yeah.
And find a safe space within myself.
Right.
To your point of isolation, and isolation can be another dangerous place for me too. I want to say, I do get power from people for sure. And I do need a tribe. And I think there's a tribe for everybody. I think people can find their tribe if they reach out. I mean, especially because we do have the tool of the computer, which years ago they didn't have, right? Imagine if this happened years ago. Right. But the practices of yoga, the somatic healing, the breathing techniques, the meditation can enhance your spiritual connection. And that's another reason why I do this work.
Right.
We teach people, how to lift themselves up in a space of being alone.
Right. Right. And it's funny because you said that, you knew, and I know a lot of people on this call discovered yoga or meditation or breath work, years ago, but really didn't start implementing it until like 15 years later. So if you discovered it at 20, but didn't implement it until 35. And I say, and I'm with you on, I don't know the exact years, but same thing, like I could never do that, or I can't calm my mind down, or, whatever the excuse is. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody like that?
Somebody who
feels like they just, can't do it, or I can't do yoga, I can't do meditation because my mind is always racing. So I get that a lot too. So
well, I was that person.
yeah.
So I can really empathize. I mean, if you've met me, me outside, right? Or when people, it was really funny. Somebody recently just said to me, like, Maria's a live wire. Like, she shows up, like, I am a live wire. I'm like all over the place. And that's why I do yoga. And so much that they say, you want to master something, teach it. So I have such compassion for people who can't meditate, you know, and my first experience with meditation was in a drug rehab. Like, I'm on Facebook Live saying that. It's okay. The shame's
It's
gone.
okay.
That shame years ago. And I think I fell asleep, but I had a moment of quiet and calm, like that I was bound through drugs and alcohol, like without it. And that was the coolest part. Like, I had a moment where I just felt so safe. I felt peaceful. And I think it lasted maybe 20 seconds if I'm lucky.
Right.
You know, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I left it, and I left that rehab, and then I went back to my life and my old ways, and just, you know, I always was seeking connection, and I think I used substances to connect and relax and you know, until, like I said, until it didn't work anymore. And then from there, I would go to my first practice was hot yoga, and it was for the detox. It was the sweat. I was also struggling with an eating disorder. So, like, you know, the whole 9 yards.
More calories, right.
You burn more calories, get really skinny, because that's what the world tells you you're worth something. Right. And so, you know, and that was so really healing for me. Actually, I have to say, you know, it was a healing time, because I would hear the words, the threads of wisdom, the threads of the yoga philosophies: love yourself, no judgment, compassion, you know, and I used to get those little nuggets that would inspire me. And so then after that, and it was just interesting path. And from there, Kundalini practices, which were extensive breath work. I mean, we do a retreat out in Sedona. They do psychotropic breath work where I literally am like Alice in Wonderland and a trip.
Oh my God.
It's like, and I sat there like, she was like, open mouth breathing for 60 minutes. And I was like, and no, this is like not too long ago. This is 3 years ago. And I was pretty good at meditating at that point, because it's like anything, practice. It's like a muscle, like ab work, but for your brain, meditation. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing 60 minutes of this. And Erica, let me tell you, I mean, part of it is the facilitator. The right facilitator. I mean, she took us, we were doing this open mouth breathing. And by the 60 minutes, I mean, I'm telling you, I was like Alice in Wonderland. Now, part of the thing I want to teach people is to awaken, not to numb out again. But once in a while, numbing out with your own natural substances, it can be pretty wild. And that was just so cool. So, I mean, there's just, the sky's the limit. So for people who, back to your point, for people who are struggling with meditation, you just start slow. 1 minute in the morning, 2 minutes in the morning. It's like brushing your teeth, but you're flossing your mind. You're just clearing your mind out.
Yeah.
Baby steps, and no pressure, and just find an app. I mean, or work with one of us, right? You teach meditation as well, right?
I don't teach meditation. Nope. I send them your way.
Okay, you send them to me, and we just take baby steps. I mean, I think a lot of, again, we limit ourselves. I can't do that. You know, the mind is really powerful, limits you, you know, and just a little bit of willingness.
That's it. That's the key. Because normal, right? For your mind. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not there yet, right? For people that meditate hours on end. But if after 20 seconds, a minute or whatever, your mind starts to wander, then you just kind of bring it, like you said, bring it back to your breath. And like a muscle, you work it and you get a little better at it each time.
And I use meditation. Sometimes I use meditating to manifest, to create, to, you know, and sometimes my mind is really super busy, and who is anyone to say that that's not meditating?
Yeah.
If I'm sitting watching my
But it's
thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, some days my meditation is like a million different to-do lists, and then I'm like, okay, bring it back, you know?
You were probably like this when you first started yoga, because I was trying to do yoga because everyone said you should do yoga. And I would be on the mat and the instructor would be talking about all this woo stuff. And I'd be like, oh my God, can we just get on with the yoga? Or at the end, you know, you're lying in a Shavasana or whatever. And I'm like, can I just leave? And now you like totally look forward to that stuff. And like you said, those little bit of nuggets that you hear every so often. At first I'm like, what the heck is Shavasana? What the heck is I don't remember all the ones, but when you say them, I know them. And it just becomes like, just you build on it. It's just so awesome. I
I
can't.
just had a power outage.
Yeah, I was wondering. Good thing you have candles on. You have your candles lit in there.
I have my light on, but let's just keep going. But
How,
everybody else is out with no power.
yeah,
in
how
my
is your
house.
computer working?
The
Battery?
computer's still working. These two lights are still working, which is pretty cool. It's okay. I'll let them deal with it.
Well, thank goodness we still have you on.
I know. Back to the movement of yoga. And so yoga is basically movement, and the poses in itself are geared towards opening up your shoulders, opening up your hips, opening up, releasing tension. Like I said earlier, when we see things on the computer, we see things on Facebook and social media, we have moments in our life that really can send us into collapse. And the body is so contracted and tense.
Right.
And it really just does such a toll on your nervous system and your brain and your body. And so when we do some of the poses, most of the poses are geared towards opening up your shoulders where you hold tension and getting the energy to flow and releasing some of that. And then tension in your hips. And again, it's just like a science where it's proven that it's another science.
Well, something that you had talked about, we did a really great fireside yoga the other night. And you guys had talked about a lot of the positions have to do with nature or animals in nature. So I know, like, there's cow, there's the dog, there's camel, there's a reason why they're named that. Is there a reason why? Mountain.
So the yoga's translated so many years and years, thousands of years. It's an ancient modality, and that could be another whole Facebook Live conversation on. But most of the poses are named after animals, nature, tree pose, cat cow, warrior, Virabhadrasana, warrior 1, warrior 2, great sages and deities. And it's just supposed to, for me, and it's however you view it, just to remind us that there's life beyond our humanness, right? And I learned so much from nature. I was on a fabulous forest bathing workshop the other day where we really connected with nature, and it was so quiet. And again, these are all tools that I would tell people to do, just like get out in nature. This summer, I was under waterfalls. If you look at my Facebook page, I was in waterfalls. I was out in nature. I was at the beach. It's just medicinal for your soul. It fuels your soul. And I can sit here and preach to the choir, get out there, but for the most part, if people just go out and experience it, they know, what I mean. And that was and to actually, like, this year, I literally was shut down. Every studio I worked for was shut down. We were out of work. And I just took the time, and I was like, and that can be very scary, but I think we've all been through enough traumatic situations that it all works out.
Lights are back. Oh, there we go.
They're on and off.
One of the things you had mentioned is that, we need to find ways to manage our stress better. And in nature, I'm pretty sure you said this, Maria, a dog will shake, right? If it's anxious, to release a lot of the nervous energy. So innately, a dog knows what to do, but we don't, right? So we have to implement a lot of these stress management types of tools that, are based on, a lot of nature.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a meditation that I do at an ashram when that was open that I used to go to, where we literally would shake. And a lot of the and the trauma informed yoga, we tell people shake, like literally, like when you were growing up, like when if you were on a sporting event, like shake it off. But you don't, nobody ever literally shakes it off. Shaking it off, you can shift the energy. You can actually shift anxiety, move anxiety,
Right.
because a lot of it is chemical, a lot of it's dopamine, and like you said, cortisol and neurotransmitters of your mind. It's biochemistry, and movement is a huge way to shift it. And then, you come back, you go into the world, and you get stressed out again. Right. So, but I think more of that, we'd see less substance abuse, alcoholism.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, I'm reading just, there's another way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and something I'd made note
Suicide
of
ideation is just rampant.
when you're talking about neurotransmitters and brain depression, a lot of times, even those poses like the inversions, right? You're getting blood to the brain. So that's, there's a point to that too, right? We need blood in our brain.
Yeah, the inversions help immune system, but nutrition, and you could probably shed a little light on the nutrition. That's a huge part of my recovery. And I am somebody who struggles with depression and anxiety, and had many years of addiction issues. And I have to say, part of my path now today is managing it with these holistic ways. Not that medication for sure for some people, right? But utilizing some of these tools can really.
Well, in my programs, I really guide people, and I don't prescribe medication, but there might be like a specified supplement protocol based on labs. But the 4 lifestyle changes that people need to implement are paramount. So that is stress management, whether it's through, yoga, meditation, breath work, whatever, sleep, and the right types of exercise, and diet, right? Is that 4? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, all of those things are so important. And what you're doing with energy and yoga and breath work is so it's so important. They're getting it done over there with the lights.
Yeah, it'll probably go off again. Hang on one second. I'm going to shut the one. Can I pause for a second or no? We got to
Yeah,
keep.
go ahead. Just jump.
Hang
Yeah,
on.
pause. Just jump out. It's not a big deal though if the light goes on and off.
I think it's my little pseudo fireplace, right? Sitting by a pseudo fireplace.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
actually, going to sleep is a big thing. I think that's great that you have the lights on, because I've got my overhead light on, and when I tell people about tips for sleeping, we want to try to really minimize the overhead lights and the blue lights. So we're going to be stopping early enough that, our melatonin is going to be able to boost to help us with a good quality night's sleep.
Sleep
So,
is so important, and
oh my
something I
God.
still I'm working on that right now.
Yeah.
Tools and reading a book, or I've been implementing meditation at night, because for me, the first thing I do in the morning is to get up and I meditate. Like I literally get out of bed. I don't look at my phone. I don't get coffee. I go directly to my meditation cushion. I have another one upstairs, and I just sit. And the morning hours can be pretty powerful, and it's a great way to start your day.
Mm-hmm. And you're starting your day off for yourself, not for somebody else. Even looking at your phone, right? You're going to be looking at somebody else's business. And, I think that's a great way to start your day. I drink a huge tall glass, 16-ounce glass of water. And then I do meditate and I journal. So that's how I start out my day too. And, you find yourself, because, I think having a schedule like that, and then I exercise, is important, but you do find yourself getting drawn to that phone's calling my name. We're so programmed and we're so connected to these things. We have to have these certain schedules and things in our life to separate us from, what is kind of like not always serving us in the right way. Right. So a lot of these screens are really creating a lot of programming and our young children too. So it's tough. I don't watch the news really at all. So
Me neither.
I feel for people that are right in the middle of the fires and the riots and stuff like that, where I can go down my street and it's quiet. Like you would never know that anything's going on in the world. And I don't feel guilty about it, but I just feel like if you're watching the news all the time and getting sucked into that, what the heck is that doing to your, to your body? It's not, it's not something I want to fill myself up with first thing in the morning or all day or whatever.
Right. And, it's interesting. People, I was, when COVID first hit, I was on the news every night. I was watching that COVID channel at night, 10 o'clock before bed. And I did that for about 5 days. And then I was like, what am I doing? Because from years of yoga practice and from years of cultivating enough self-awareness, I could feel it in my body. Like I was like, wow, I am stressing myself out. And I think you need to be, I think it's important to be in the know, and we need to hear what's going on in the world so we can contribute in a powerful way. But at the same time, right, not going into this spiral where you're constantly watching it, you're constantly caught up in it, you're constantly watching Twitter, you're constantly jumping into the politics. And there's people in my life who are like constantly
Still.
And
And the
I
people you
almost feel
love, right?
maybe they're getting dopamine hits from it. I think there might be some dopamine hits going on. Where
I
it's
don't know if it's dopamine, but it's definitely cortisol.
It's definitely cortisol, but there's something very attractive about it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fear can be real comfortable.
Yeah, I guess a lot of times it might be people's way of connecting with other people too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not being disconnected, I'm not sure. But
And
yeah,
it's like you can look to the left at what's going on in nature and apples and the walks and see what's going on there, or you can look to the right at the chaos, and it's just I think it's a balance.
What's your choice? Yeah. What do you want? What do you want more of, right? And nature, is something we talk about all the time, that we have to look to nature. And right now, with the change of seasons, that there are seasonality to everything, right? So the last newsletter that I sent out was, one thing is for certain, is that fall was going to come after summer. But nature doesn't make mistakes, right? Nature knows what is going on. So we're gonna, in the fall, the leaves are gonna drop off the tree and they're gonna, go into a different state. And we kind of have to roll with that as well.
Let go of what's dead.
Yeah, let go.
No longer serves.
Right.
And that's what the season's about.
Yeah, I think
and I've had a lot of transformation and turnover even in 6 months, and it feels good. And sometimes it, can, I could spin it into a big scary story, or we can look at it as opportunity. And I know that's easy to say, but I think you can do it with some major suffering. I mean, even like some of my biggest breakdowns that I've had, 2013 was a really, really dark time in my life. But looking at that now, it had to happen so I can step into what I was meant to do on this earth. Right. The depression, the anxiety, the suicide ideation, the drug addiction, looking back at that, it's really hard to look at some of the situations and how my life went, broken relationships and and pain. And then you use it to serve others. Because there's a lot of other people that experience, right? We all, the pain that we go through.
But I think that's a really powerful statement, though, of just letting go, right? Letting go of what doesn't serve you. Because I think people will hold on to that for so long, for whatever reason, right? Make up your own fill in the blank excuse why you don't let that shit go for whatever reason, So.
Yeah, you hear victimhood and resentments
or the limiting beliefs, right? So maybe that's something you can touch on, is that I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough to have whatever, right? Which I'm sure you had a lot of in 2013.
Oh, totally. I had, and a lot of it was like narrative in my subconscious that I've cleared with energy healers, with some whacked out things. If I explained on social media, maybe they'd put me back in.
Yeah, but we've got our primitive brain still.
And a lot of those stories, if I'm going through a struggle with a changeover or something, I can trace it back to like 4th grade. I can trace it back to 8th grade. I can trace it back to 20, where something happened that made me not see my worth, or I was letting external factors inform my worth. And we can carry that story, and on a subconscious level, I'm talking in your psyche, where you don't even know. And I almost call it like, I mean, at one point, looking for everybody to parent you, like from the neighbor to right, every relationship, like, please love me, please tell me I'm enough. And there's a lot of ways that I would limit myself, and part of it is just being conscious of it, aware of it, and then being like, no, I'm not doing this today. I'm
You have to be, I don't know about part of it. You have to be able to be aware of it so that you can make a change and not blame yourself for it, so that okay, that might be part of what happened to me, what I did, whatever, in the 4th grade, or this is the way you were brought up, right? These are habits, and this is stuff that you've learned in your environment as you grew up, and that doesn't define you right now, right? If something you want to change, but you have to acknowledge it and then be able to make that shift.
Yeah,
and realize that. Yeah.
The conscious awareness of it.
Yeah. Know it's a limiting belief, and know that, you can change that narrative. You can for sure change that narrative.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of the yoga practice. It's a big part of what I try to do is, I let people, just hold a sacred space, a space within a room, whether it's virtually, where they can just get away from what's going on in the world. And I have to say, any exercise. I mean, I teach yoga. I'm here to help with yoga. That's for people. But I used to do a spin class where I was in a deep meditation with loud classic rock music in the background.
Mm-hmm. You're just in a zone.
I would just zone out. I'd be in another world, and I started to just connect with my higher self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it can be pretty powerful. Just find, anywhere, exercise, walks in nature, meditation. And I think, I know for me, what blocks me too is, I'm a mom, and I'm juggling a lot of different things and a lot of different programs. And I have to get rid of the guilt when like today I was like, I'm going for a walk, or just saying to my daughter, like, or my husband, like, I'm going for a walk. Mm-hmm. And not feeling guilty about it. Like, where's that story? Right. Like, mm-hmm. I just, it's okay. It's not self-centered,
right,
or selfish, right, to implement some sort of self-care.
Right. I know. I know.
I sound like a royal bitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Go ahead, Erica.
Or sometimes it's like, does anyone want to go for a walk with me? Yeah.
So, why does anyone want to go for a walk with me?
I was looking on Facebook, so I see that we have and had actually since the beginning Victoria and Claudia.
Oh, my sister.
And Francis. I already said gave Francis a heart, but I didn't scroll up to see the other two, so I'm sorry I didn't do that. So yay, thank you for joining us. So this is going to be recorded, and we're going to have a replay for people that weren't able to come on. So before we close up, I'm just wanting to find out if you wanted to add anything else. Did we skip over anything?
I don't know. Did we cover everything? I mean, we had a fun conversation. Did we cover everything we wanted to talk about?
So, I mean, I think we put a lot of good stuff out there.
I think it's really about, I think this time is just really about, just noticing how you limit yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And set set some goals and manifest them, right? You don't want to live in, here when you can live here, right?
Yeah, and I get a lot of resistance to virtual yoga. You know, I mean, and that's what I've been doing this whole 6 months, and I have to say, it's just I'm loving it. I'm loving being able to log on from home. I'm loving. Have you gone totally virtual when seeing clients, or?
Well, there was at the beginning, I still had virtual clients, but I didn't see like my chiropractic patients in office, but I saw my in my functional medicine practice, I still was able to connect with people.
Yeah, I think the winter's coming, and this tool has been pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just being able to communicate on this forum. So, you know, with Drew and I did a meditation. We have a bunch of stuff coming up. We're doing a 5-part, Drew, Callie, and I are doing a 5-part awakening series. It's going to be a 5-week, I believe it's 5 weeks. Yikes. I hope I'm not giving misinformation. He'll kill me.
So for people, and you'll put the link below. So for people that don't know, Drew Kelly's psychic medium, right?
Yeah,
So
Drew's
you guys are going to be doing
he's my buddy. He's a psychic medium. He and I on Monday night, starting October 12th, are offering a 5-part series. And you can find it on I'll just chat actually, you can go to my website. I have it there.
Yeah, either way, put it in the comments after we're finished.
Okay, I'm adding
How to, yeah. And so wait, okay, it's a 5-part series doing what?
That's a 5-part meditation series on just meditating, connecting to your higher self, spiritual development, and it'll be mostly meditation and some other workshops. We'll make it really fun and really just help people if they do struggle with meditation and how to self-regulate and step into your higher self. And he's an amazing medium, so he has that gift. So that's always fun to watch, and he channels, and it's just a whole new world that I wasn't given as a kid.
Right.
Although maybe I know that's changed a little bit for my daughter there, but even still, you know, I think these are, you know, self-discovery is such an important tool.
Mm-hmm.
And really just
dealing with all the stuff that we've just been talking about, right?
Yeah. And how can I manage this stress? And can I find my breath, and even just different mudras, hand movement, and simple, you know, alternate nostril breathing, just slowing down your breath, or just, okay, I'm unraveling. I'm about to collapse in overwhelm because my system can't take it anymore because of what's going on in the world. So let me get some space. How can I just make space from it? Right? So that we're less reactive, because we're seeing a lot of reactive. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of reactive in the world, right? The little news I watch, right? And it doesn't have to be that way. And I do think there's a lot of blame and right, pointing fingers, and it's just a societal way. And so these workshops we're offering is just teaching people, pull it back, get a hold, get a grip, breathe and relax. Mm-hmm. Right. And shift it. And I have a huge spiritual connection. I feel really held by spirit and source, and that I've had a lot of help with that. I've had a lot of tribe in my life that has helped me with that. And I even feel like you and I doing this work is that work. And so I'm doing a meditation with him. I'm starting a program with Body Positive Works, which is a yoga studio, and everybody's gone virtual.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So that workshop is virtual, and this workshop is virtual with Body Positive also.
So Body Positive, we're starting to facilitate classes that'll be coming up in the next few months, and this is all on my website for people struggling with eating disorders or addiction or a major anxiety. And I'm with 2 yoga studios right now, Iron Buddha and Real Hot, where we're doing some social distancing in-person class. And then you came to a class I did with Brandy and Cass, my 2 friends. They're part of my tribe too. And we're planning a teacher training. So yeah, so I have a lot going on. I'm grateful.
Right. So that our viewers and listeners can check out all that information if you put a link to your website in the comments below. And I know we talked about a lot of stuff, but maybe you can give like just a couple take homes for people that they can use tonight. if they wanted to, just to, do something.
Well, we could, yeah, tonight, I loved what your suggestion, journaling. And all of this takes discipline. So just journaling your feelings at night can help.
Yeah.
And then just put it away, even just 15 minutes of journaling. The alternate nostril breathing, basically just close off right nostril, inhale, right. And then exhale. I don't know how it's viewing in the camera. Just closing off your nostrils, and alternate breathing can be very grounding, being very centering. Kapalabhati. I butcher Sanskrit, so so forgive me.
Kapalabhati, that's right.
Kapalabhati, yeah. So breath of fire. And in the morning, sometimes if I'm like didn't get a good night's sleep, just sharp exhalations. That actually can work you up. But if you need to wake up or get energized, that's a good tool, right?
Right.
Breathing techniques, just tools like that. I love to I love to chant. And that sounds really when somebody told me about chanting, I was like, oh my God, this lady's whacked out, or singing. So your vagus nerve, right? The vagus nerve, which is your chill out nerve. We talked about animals and when you're in flight, fight, right? You can stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your chill out, by just oming, humming, and breathing. So, there's
actually
so
all
many
of
tools
those will implement more parasympathetic tone, the yoga, the breath work. So all really good stuff.
So, and you don't have to wait for a prescription. You don't have to wait, you can do, it's like right at your fingertips.
Yeah.
It's right at your hands. When you're having a moment of collapse, just slow, deep breaths. Okay, I'm here. Where's the earth under my feet? Close your eyes, slow down your breath. Right, just deep breaths in, sit up. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. Right, in the moment, you're safe. In the moment, all is well.
Super.
Right, 30 seconds flat. Boom.
Yeah.
You're grounded, you're in your truth, you're in your power. I don't have to cut your head off.
You would never do that. Okay.
Not you in general. I derail. It's
we all do, and then
my husband will say to me, "That's not very yogic."
I go
Scorpio.
I got a good one. Eric will call me Namanasti. Okay. He's like, oh, Namanasti.
My husband's like, oh, if your people could hear you now. I'm sure my neighbors hear me like that.
Yeah, we all go through it, right? But we find these ways to, right, manage.
Pull back and get centered. And listen, color me human.
Yeah.
I don't shame myself. I don't, you're not yogic, you're not spiritual, you're not sober because I'm having a meltdown. It's just, this is life, baby. So, and I'm just so grateful I found it.
Yeah.
My life, it would have taken a very, very different direction had I not.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody's really gained something from our conversation. And I know I have. So thank you so much. I'm grateful for our conversation.
I need some chiropractic work.
Okay. I know you keep on saying that.
I keep saying that. My neck is like, can you see me?
All right, so I'm going to shut this down. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, find out more about your programs, we'll put your information in the comments below. And if anyone wants to find out more about my programs, you can go to my website or DM me. I can put you on my email list because I send out newsletters with really great information too. So
I love your newsletters, Erica.
Oh, thank you.
And you do wellness, nutrition.
Yep.
Share a little bit.
Yep.
In case anybody on my end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So no, I was originally trained as a chiropractor, but I've been incorporating functional medicine and lifestyle like the past 10 years. So I love I love helping everybody, but I really love focusing on helping women with stubborn weight loss, really improving and increasing their energy and their mental clarity, balancing their hormones, and really managing their stress. So all of this stuff really ties into my programs. And I have a private Facebook group. I send out the newsletters. I have my personal page. I'm trying to do better on social media, just because I was saying to you, we just really have an important message that we need to share with a lot of people. So, we keep on putting it out there.
Yeah. And that all those things I think are really important, especially the hormone balance. I mean, I think a lot of women, they're not even aware
No.
that's what's driving the bus.
Yeah. You don't even know what you don't know a lot of times, I say.
Yeah.
And
I just feel crazy. I feel stressed. I feel over, and they have no idea it's chemical.
Everyone's forgetful now. I'm like, oh gosh,
Me too.
don't let that, don't let that go. So these are all
Yeah.
signs, right? You have to listen to your body's warning lights. And if you can't find ways to make these improvements, then you find, practitioners and people in your tribe that can help you or direct you in the direction that you can get that help, because you're not alone. And there's a ton of free resources out there, right? I have a free private Facebook group. You put out information on your Facebook all the time, so there's a lot of really great resources.
Yeah. So tag me, because that's something I need. And I know there's plenty of women that need that.
Yeah. There's no shortage of that.
So there is help out there, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody.
And when we feel better, we produce more in the world, and that we operate from that place.
Yeah.
When I feel like crap, when I feel like shit, when I'm, you know what I mean? When I'm not taking care of myself, I operate from that place.
Right.
So,
no, thank you.
And then the children and everybody feel that, and then it just repeats, right?
So we got to break that cycle.
Exactly.
And it starts here.
Starts with you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Maria.
Alternate nostrils breathing for both of us tonight.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.